99 years ago, on the date of this Shabbos, Yud Tamuz, 12th day of the month of Tammuz, the previous Rebbe was released from prison. One of the things that he said then upon his release was, it's not just a personal issue. This is something which is affecting, which is relevant, which is important to every Jew. How is that? Let me share with you soon a few interesting anecdotes. But first of all, say thank you to Hashem. Mizmor l'soid oril adonai kol haaretz ivdu sadenu b'simcha. Boi lefano b'nono duk adonai limu osanu v'lanachna v'tzom harisoy. Boi yishor b'soid achatz v'sila od levoch hashmoy. Kitoi v'adonai le'olam chazdov yad doir v'doir emunah. So my dear friends, let's give some tzedakah. In 1987, I had the schus, the privilege, to be sent, together with my brother-in-law, Gershon, who is an expert in building mikvahs all over the world. We were sent for a 2-week, approximately, clandestine visit to Russia, Moscow and Vilnius. That was before perestroika, before glasnost, when Russia was still under very, very harsh communism. We met a number of refuseniks. Some of them became very, very religious. And I remember asking one of them particularly, a guy who lost his job. He was a top doctor in Moscow. Lost his income, lost his livelihood. He was pursued by the KGB on a regular basis. Unfortunately, his wife had a heart condition. His son was going to be drafted into the army, and he was already told he's going straight to Afghanistan. In other words, that's a death sentence. And I asked him, what gives you the strength to be able to withstand all these horrendous challenges? Person is living, and he knows mics in the corners of every room. There is a mic to record what he says, being followed on the street. What gives you the koyach? He says, me? The Rebbe, the previous Rebbe. Did you ever see him? No. Did you learn his teachings? Yes, we have quietly one sefer of his memorim. But the stories we are told about him, not from my parents were not religious, but the stories that we know, that in 1927 he single-handedly battled this communist machine and he won, this gives us the strength. So just to share one little anecdote about the previous Rebbe, when he was arrested, their original plan was a death penalty. Then he was commuted to 10 years of hard labor in Siberia. Then he was commuted to 3 years in exile in Kostroma. And then he was freed, as I said, on Yud Tamuz, on the 12th day of Tammuz in 1927. During one of these all-night, not learning unfortunately, but interrogations, being interrogated by a Jewish person unfortunately, a communist. And as we know, only a Jew could be a fervent religious communist. And during the interrogation, the Rebbe suddenly tells him, I want to tell you a story. So Lulav, who is the interrogator, says, Rebbe, calls him Rebbe, while he's ready to, God forbid, carry out the death penalty. Over here, you don't tell stories. Over here, you answer my questions. And the previous Rebbe tells him, I want to tell you something. In my shul, when I give a maimer, when I give a sikha, when I give a lengthy dvar Torah, not everybody listens. But when I tell a story, everybody listens. So I suggest you listen to my story. Lulav then responds in his great chutzpah. He says, look, you see this little toy on the table pointing out to a gun, a loaded one. And he says, you know, this little toy over here has made a lot of people talk, but it also silenced a lot of people. So I suggest you follow my directives and you don't tell me you want to tell a story. And the Rebbe to respond to him, looking him straight in the eyes, not flinching, not showing any fear, because the Rebbe made a commitment. He's not going to fear them. He's not going to consider them at all. And the Rebbe tells him, this little toy can only impress someone who has two gods and one world. Somebody who has one God and two worlds, this toy does not impress. This story is what gave the refuseniks, what gave Russian Jewish community for years, for decades, to stay strong. And today, it is the Rebbe's followers, the Rebbe who took over after the previous Rebbe and his Chassidim and Shluchim, who are leading the way for the whole world to Mashiach.